Good day, and welcome to the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Bridges. In each episode, I cover my experiences, both good and bad, of being a business builder, as well as my journey through the crazy world of entrepreneurship to reach my goal of earning $10 million a year. All right. We are on episode 126 of the podcast. Today is December 14th, so we have less than 2 weeks really until everybody takes off for the holidays and gets away and just kind of goes insane for a few days, right? If you're not already doing insanity at this point, you're very lucky. But this time of year also gives us a chance to take a review of where we've been on 2023 and see where we were in terms of our goals, set new goals for the coming year. And that's really the great part about this time of year is we get a chance to close out the old year and open up a new one. I was just listening to something earlier this morning from Taylor Welch talking about that very same concept. And we'll get into a little bit more about that a little later in the podcast. But right now, let's dig into the books and learning that we're doing. Some of it is from this week, some of it's last week. A lot of things have been kind of shifted around a little bit in the new format here, so I'll kind of cover some of those differences. We're still going through our books on $100 million offers and mastery. A lot of things to learn. I haven't really encompassed a lot of it because of what else was going on this week, and that was the Anchor Summit, which was the Maiden Voyage of this format that Taylor Welch has brought with other people that were with him. And so we're going to cover a lot of that information today. One of the people that came to the group for the Anchor Summit was Neil Samudre. Now, he's a great guy, got a fantastic background. In the course of the Anchor Summit, the word of the day was resilience. In the face of adversity, how do you handle that? And his concept was the difference between play it safe and being safe to play. And Neil explained the difference for us, and it's really a good concept to keep in mind. Play it safe is where we never fully realize and grow into who we are as a person. It's a limiting belief. It puts us in this mindset of we're going to play it safe. We're going to put some barriers on there. We're going to put some guide rails on there. You're playing it safe. You're never going to grow into who you are as a person. Versus the concept of safe to play. Now, he defines this as living in a way that supports how you need to live in the future. Your future self. Many of us haven't really given a first or a second thought to who we're going to be. And this is really key for those of us that are growing and developing as business owners. Anyone who is facing entrepreneurship is going to hit some serious roadblocks. I mentioned to a client of mine that there are really only three things that happen in business. There's tailwinds where you're just going along, the wind is blowing your boat forward, you don't have to do anything, it's going the right direction you want, you might have to steer a little bit here or there. Then there are headwinds. These are when problems are coming at you and they're blowing right straight at you, right into your face as you face the front of the boat. These are really difficult and challenging times. But the third one that we run into as business owners is what I like to call rocks in the water. Submerged problems that we can't see. And we can't prepare for them. We can't plan for them in any way. But we can be aware that we are getting near the shores. We're getting into a place where the sea bottom comes up. And sometimes we can simply look off the edge of the boat and see the rocks in the water below us. That's the best time that we can take advantage of things. You know, if you're playing it safe, you're not aware of everything that's going on around you. And you're just going to put some, like I said, put guide rails on there. Safe to play is the opposite. You've looked at yourself, you know what you're facing, You are looking forward and you are making plans for it. Now, with this comes another topic we'll be talking about a little bit later. But for right now, that's a great concept to really have taken in your life. Play it safe versus safe to play. One of the quotes that Eileen Wilder, she was one of the other people that was in the Anchor Summit, she brought to the table, procrastination is the assassination of your destination. Falls along the lines with the play it safe concept. As we go through and do this, we have to recognize that stopping and taking time and putting things off and not dealing with the things we're supposed to is actually going to not just keep us from reaching our destination, but might actually kill our ability to reach that destination at all. Into the business strategy session, we're looking at this term resilience, and it reminds me of a quote that Frank Herbert had. He said, "The willow submits to the wind and prospers until one day it is many willows, a wall against the wind." That's how we have to kind of think of resilience, is that we have to stand up to the challenges that come at us in order to take advantage of the natural ability of us to do what we do best. The topic of resilience brought up an interesting question, and I wanted to kind of focus on that, is what to do when the plan doesn't go according to the plan, right? What do you do when all of your plans have been just tossed out the window by something that happened to you, a set of circumstances you weren't aware of? What do you do about that? You can sit there and beat yourself up on it and say, I just didn't have it right. But a better idea is to plan an imperfect plan. Leave yourself room for things to vary. Leave yourself room to ask, what is the next step? I want to get out there, and I want to get there within a reasonable time, but what's going to get me there? I'm now stopped from achieving this. And a lot of things in our life work that way. Going in a straight line is how we tend to plan. Life comes at us in a zigzag fashion, and sometimes it loops on itself. I look at it as, if you don't learn the things you need to learn, you will continue to repeat them until you do learn them. And this is common. I mean, if you don't learn about finances and you're in a business owner position, you're going to keep running into problems with finances, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can hand it off to somebody else, but that's not necessarily the same as actually being able to deal with finances, because much of wealth building, not just growing a business, not just getting rich, but much of wealth building is all about being able to understand how to make money work for you, not just put it in a bank account and let it sit. Actually, you take enough of what you make that's a leftover and you put it to work for you. That's the difference between being rich and wealthy, is wealthy people know what to do with the money they have. Rich people tend to just sit on it, and it doesn't do all that much for them. By asking what's the next step and then taking that next step, you get a sense of reality that you're in the problem, you're dealing with it, and then you're going to make some mistakes, right? And John Maxwell had a great quote on that. He said, "Failure is simply a price we pay to achieve success." And that's key, because if you understand failure is what you have to go through in order to reach success, chances are you're going to look at failure differently. And failure, generally speaking, is just stopping. Not making mistakes. You do make mistakes. You do have issues that come up that you've never dealt with. Maybe you have dealt with them and you didn't learn to deal with them the last time around. But really, when you look at failure as a stepping stone to success, it changes the way you approach much of your business because you know you're going to fail. Now you're going to want to fail easily, fail often, and fail quickly so that you can move past it as you learn the lessons. There's your key. You have to learn the lessons that come from your failure. As we go through and do a lot of these other things, one of the things that we can do involves our problem solving. Because our resilience, when the plan doesn't go according to plan, we end up with problems. Now, anybody knowing anything about problems realizes when you solve one problem, you create a second problem, maybe not necessarily the same way, but it is the second problem. So things don't go your way. What do you need to focus on next? Well, problem solving is often presented as, well, we're going to look for all the different options that we can take and then, move forward from there. But it's better if you first define the problem to be solved. Now you get into a different aspect of being in business, which is something we call the rule of threes. 3 is the smallest number that humans can encounter to where they can recognize a pattern occurring. So if you're problem solving and you're looking for, ways around that, you want to look for different ways. You define the problem so that you can actually understand what outcomes you're going to want to achieve based on that problem. And then you draw the line to the ones that make the most sense. Now, one thing that I was told a long time ago, and it's been very helpful in business, because of the rules of 3, never accept a binary choice. If your people come to you and they say, well, we can do this or we can do that, ask for and look for a third option to consider. And the reason is now you can get things in relation to each other. You can start looking for commonalities and differences. You can look for benefits and drawbacks. You can look for things that are going to help you grow and things that are going to keep you small. When you break this into these 3 pieces, 3 choices, a binary doesn't give you that option. It doesn't give you that ability to really take a step back. It's one of the reasons when I'm doing project-based pricing, I will give a low price for low value, a moderate price for the value the customer is asking for, and a higher price for greater value with greater, outcomes on the end than the client is even asking for or recognizing. So that they have 3 prices, 3 different options that they can go for, and they can compare them. 2 is really hard. 2 is almost impossible to really get a good handle on what is going on with it. So the rule of 3s work really well with solving problems. When the plan doesn't go according to the plan, start first by defining the problem to be solved, and then look for at least 3 different ways that you can get out of it, solve the problem, and choose between those 3. So that's enough for now. We're going to keep this one relatively short today as we roll in through the end of the year. This is Randy Bridges for The Budding Entrepreneur, wishing you the best in your health, your wealth, your business, your family. Enjoy the holidays. Have a great time with family, friends, anyone that's around you. Take care. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode.